Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we have a new monster skill balancing patch. So this one, I will say, not super excited about this one. They made a couple changes. Some are interesting. Otherwise, none of the real changes I was looking for. Yeah, I can't say there were too many nerfs to the units that were just like really broken, and no wind robo changes. Sad, that unit is crazy. So the very first one we have here is a nerf to the Water Macaroon Guard. This unit got nerfed before I even got to use one. Sad. So they reduced the stun rate on the passive down to a 50% chance instead of 100%. And they reduced the damage by 22%. I can get them lowering the damage if that's too strong. I'm not a fan that they reduced the stun rate. They put it to 50%. And I just don't like that it's at 50 when the Wind Monkey King is at 100%. I think 100% is just crazy in general for those units. So I don't know. I wish they would adjust him back down because he got a crazy buff. Like his skill activates like 35% chance to activate. The Macaroons is only a 15% chance, so I don't understand why that got reduced that way. Oh well, so I guess I don't want her as much. I still want one to play around with. It'll be the Molong treatment for me. I always get the good water unit after it gets nerfed. Then we have a nerf for the Light Mermaid. So Molly's passive got changed, so I believe it's the glancing activation rate does not apply to herself. It'll apply to, you can glance on the team, but against Molly, you won't have to worry about that minus 15% glance chance, which I think it's going to make her a lot easier to kill. One thing I really need to mention, going back to this Molly change, now that she cannot have the glancing effect on herself, there's units like the Water Dryad, and even now the Pure Vanilla Cookie, you can now Oblivion reliably, because those units previously, even when you tried to Oblivion her, she could still glance and it felt dreadful. So that's actually a really big change that I didn't really think about at first. Water Dryad, if you guys have not used that unit yet, she's actually a really great 4-star support unit. Definitely want to build one of those to go against Molly's now. Then we have a nerf for the Dark Onimusha. They no longer get the damage increased by 30% when attacking an enemy, so this is a big DPS loss for them. And we have the Dark Desert Queen. The silence chance has been decreased by I think like 20%. So whenever she attacks an enemy under a harmful effect, it'll be one turn with a 60% chance, which goes up to 80% total. So it'll be an 80% chance with skill ups. So surprisingly, this balance patch, they have already adjusted the assassin, like the Assassin's Creed units. Usually, I was really surprised to see this. Usually they wait an entire next balance patch before they start making the changes. They did adjust some of the Cookie Collab units in this patch because there was already a balance patch in between. So I'm surprised to see the assassins getting adjusted already. They definitely need it. So we have the Fire Azo. Now ignores the enemy's defense by an additional 20% when attacking an enemy without beneficial effects. So I guess more ignore defense will be nice. And we have the Water and Light Azo, the unit that I just got 2 of, with hopes that he'd get buffed. The second skill now grants the counter attack effect on an ally target. So you can put threat state and counter attack, which does increase the amount of combinations you can do with this. I'd be interested to see units with really heavy skill 1 damage. Maybe I should try it out with Theomaris or something. I could see that being kind of gross. And then we have the Altair. We got the same effect because it's the light one. Now the dark one got a change to its passive. It's the additional attack on your turn will always land as a critical hit. I wonder if you ever build him with no crit now that you get a guaranteed crit for that extra attack and maybe focus on other stats. I'm not sure, but anytime I get a unit that has a guaranteed crit effect, I like to go no crit rate, high crit damage and see how that goes. For the Fire, Wind, and Dark, the Nimble Assault now decreases with a 50% chance instead of 30. For the Light Azo, the skill cooldown of air assassination is decreased by 1 turn if the enemy dies. Now I don't know what the cooldown is on that skill, but I'm assuming they get it back pretty frequently now. Bayek got changed as well, the Fire one. Now decreases the enemy's defense for 2 turns with a 30% chance on their Rampage of Rage ability. The Water Bayek and the Light one, they have made the Elite Ambusher now decreases the attack bar by 25% each, so it will go up to a full 100% reduce here for their second skill. Hopefully that's going to be enough to make the unit useful. I want to make a video on the Water Bayek. There's literally nowhere that he's good. Yeah, I mean, maybe in Siege you can control units better now. Now that I can actually test him out in Siege, we might get a video on him soon. He's not skilled up, but I do have him built in Runes. And then we have the Wind one, which will inflict continuous damage for 3 turns instead of 2 turns with their passive. The Light one recovers their HP by 30% of the inflicted damage. We have the Dark Bayek, who removes 1 beneficial effect after being stunned from the enemy by the Eagle. So that's the one that it just stuns an enemy every turn, I believe. But it's after being stunned. So it will not be able to strip and stun. Steal beneficial effect is cool and all, but why wouldn't they let you steal the Will Runes and then stun? Is it really that insane? I don't know. That makes he's not going to be able to do much against like immunity teams if that's the case. And we have the only Cassandra changes. They didn't change the Water Cassandra at all, which is sad. For their Hero Strike, the damage is increased by 10%. I think that's the Ignore Defense one, I'm pretty sure. So we'll see how that is. Now the Eivors got changed. So the Water one, they reduced the stat activation rate for her to get her passive going. So we'll see how easier that's going to be. Now I haven't gotten to use, I don't have one yet, so I don't actually know what the exact stat requirements are, but you know, hopefully that'll make her easier to rune in general. For the second skill of the Eivors, they now decrease attack bar with a 50% chance instead of 20% chance. So at least their skill will do a little bit more. It's a shame it's not absorb, because that would be really great for cycling, but the Fire and Light ones, see now instead of decrease, they do get absorbed. So they do get absorbed by 50%. Okay. Now the Dark Totemist now provokes for 2 turns on their Half Moon Tribe Totem skill. And they actually adjusted a second awakening unit here. So the Dark Howl decreases the skill cooldown of attack by 2 turns if Cha-Cha and Friends fails to switch the attack power with the enemy target. Now I'm not sure how low that'll put it, but they'll be able to cast it very quickly, I think, if they fail. Kind of like Sekhmet here. Now I don't know if they'll get it back instantly. It'll make it more usable once they fail. They didn't change any of the other Second Awakened units this patch. It's nice to see that they are adjusting those units, and I really hope they do go back and balance previous Second Awakened units, because oh my goodness, there's so many that need changes. There's so many that need adjustments. All right, now we're moving on to the Pure Vanilla Cookie units from the collab, the previous collab. So the Fire one, they've changed the passive. It used to be attack bar increasing effect granted on allies is increased by 30% each. It's now attack bar decreasing effect granted on allies by enemies is decreased by 40%. Man, that's really good against this super heavy CC meta. So that's gonna be nice, because there's so many units that just decrease attack bar, like the Wind Robo, you get Water Ryu, and like Oliver, and it's just dreadful. And Changpeng, that's like the same 4 units I fight every match. It's really annoying. Now the Wind one, they've increased the amount of reflect damage it does. It's now 50% instead of 30. Now the Water and Dark units got a buff on their second skill. They have reduced the cooldown from 4 to 3 turns. So when that goes down, it'll be a 2-turn cooldown now for Oblivion, I believe. So that is going to be nice. They definitely needed an adjustment on their second skill. I was expecting that to happen. I wanted to see Irresistible Oblivion. You could keep it at the 3 turns, but I'm glad that they changed it, because it currently was not doing enough. And now the Fire, Wind, and Light Pure Vanilla Cookie, but now the shield amount is increased to 20% instead of 15%. So they'll have a bit of a better shield. All right, now we have changes to the Valkyries. They added more effects to the second skill for the Fire, Water, and Light Valkyrie here. So the Fire Valkyrie can strip into defense break with their secondary skill, which is going to be pretty powerful, I think. The Water one gets a freeze on their second skill. I think it'll be nice. Camilla's not really a unit you rune with accuracy, so I'm not really sure how great that's going to be, but I think it will help when it works. And then the Light one will increase the enemy's chance of landing a glancing hit for 2 turns. So I believe the Light one also does a silence. It's a glancing hit and silence for 2 turns. So we'll see how those changes are. I expect the Fire one to be pretty good. And then up next we have Chao. I think this is a buff, but it's a weird adjustment. So they have given him, he now removes 2 harmful effects granted on yourself, but they have nerfed his HP recovery from 15% to 10%. I don't like that they reduced that. I don't feel like his healing was at all like busted, like remotely. I don't feel like his healing has ever been like too much of a problem, but I guess it is nice that he'll be able to reduce harmful effects even more. You know, there's so many units that just reduce his attack bar. It's really hard to even make use of him now. So we'll see if this makes him better. Like, it's just not great against anti-CC teams because they just reduce his attack bar, and then, you know, what's he gonna do? Because yes, I've tried. It's not great. I'd love for him to work, but no. So I guess it'll be more impactful for like siege and stuff. And then we have the Light Dragon Knight. Now increases the enemy's chance of landing a glancing hit for 1 turn when counterattacking. So I guess it'll revenge apply a glancing hit debuff. We got an adjustment to the Light Occult Girl. The damage is now going to be in proportion to her max HP and defense. And they made it so that she increases the defense of all allies and then attacks the enemy. More damage with her own defense buff, and then she does the damage. So she'll actually be probably hitting pretty hard on her 3rd skill now. We got an adjustment to the Fire Monkey. The passive effect activates whenever the enemy's turn ends. I was kind of wondering about this. I think the only change this was intended for is that when you attack the Fire Monkey and get counterattacked with like revenge runes, it will not get the increased attack power for that revenge. I think that's basically what this change is for. So it's a slight nerf. Now the Fire Panda Warrior, their 3rd skill now does damage based only on their defense. It increases the damage by 20% for each harmful effect granted on the enemy, which I thought his 3rd skill already did damage based off of debuffs. Was I wrong about that? I don't know. I don't know about that. We have the Wind Cannon Girl. Now grants Oblivion on the enemy target for 2 turns and then attacks all enemies. She can kill Theomars. She counters Nana. She'll be able to just cleave through Nana comps too. That'll be something. That'll be something. I'm gonna dread facing her in RTA. And then we have the Choco Knights. So they all now get a 50% decrease attack bar instead of 30. Now the water one got a change for their passive. It recovers their HP by 20%. It nullifies the fatal damage, removes harmful effects, and then recovers HP. I'm not excited about this. I guess the 20% healing will be nice, but I don't think it changes anything really for this unit. I have not made a video on this unit because I really don't know what's a good place to make this unit work. The fact that they have to spend a whole turn to activate their like new state, and then the fact that it can break before they even get the turn again, just pretty mediocre, I think. But for the Wind and Dark one, their chance of activating harmful effects is now going to be a 70% chance. So I'm sure it's going to be 100 once they have skill ups. And the Light one now silences the enemies for 2 turns instead of 1. So they just get a constant AoE silence when they're in their state. The Dark one decreases the attack bar of all enemies by 25% each. Now for the most exciting change of the whole balance patch, the Samurais. So they have an adjustment here. The Sword of the Supreme Skywolf has been changed. It grants you an immediate turn when you activate the Sword of Supreme Skywolf, which is really, really exciting. I believe they took away the immunity and the shield, which is, you know, I guess that's fine. We'll see how good that is. But you can now, whenever you trigger the Sword of the Supreme Skywolf, you get the immediate turn and you're able to do the damage, which is really, really exciting, I think. It'll make the Samurais really, really great for cleaves. I can imagine the Dark and the Light one are going to be able to cleave like 3 attacks now. They did decrease the damage a bit, but we'll see if it's still significant. Basically, every Samurai is guaranteed to trigger it, I think, when they use their 3rd skill. At least with the Water one. Water one has a 100% chance when it crits. So I'm super going to be trying that out. Speaking of the 3rd skill for the Water Samurai, it's now going to be a 100% chance to decrease attack bar. The skill hits twice, and it has a 100% chance to decrease attack bar, which I'm assuming is on both hits. So I guess you're going to have really consistent attack bar decrease for this unit now. I think on everything but Wind, you're pretty much guaranteed to reduce their attack bar. And then the Wind one steals all beneficial effects from the target. So the Wind one can strip into resetting cooldown, which is really gross, while also doing damage. He's basically, you know, we got another Theomars killer. So that'll be something, because not only that, then he activates the Sword of the Supreme Skywolf. I am really excited to see these Samurai changes, though. I think they're going to be really fun. That's like the most exciting thing in this balance patch for me right now. And then we we have some stats of some monsters have been changed. So the Light Eivor has gotten some stat adjustments, but I think the one that we're all really excited about is the Dark Valkyrie, as now, I believe, has been changed to an attack type unit. They have adjusted the stats, so Valkyrie went from 659 attack power to now 758 attack power. I don't know if they said they were making her an attack type unit. It would be weird if they keep her as an HP type after reducing her HP. That should help the Dark Valkyrie do the damage she needs on her third skill. We have the awakening effects of the Fire and Wind Battle Angels has been changed. The Fire one now gets crit rate increase, and the Wind one gets, oh wow. The Wind one gets attack speed increase. So now that unit, which is banking on being real fast, is going to be even faster. So that's going to be really fun for me. And we have the leader skills for the assassins has been changed. So the water one gets attack power increased by 25% for their leader skill. The fire one now increases the HP by 25%. The wind one gets a crit rate increased by 19%. The light one gets accuracy by 30%. And the dark one now has a speed lead, increases attack speed by 19%. So we'll see if any of those are going to be useful. I use Susano, Megan, Stella a lot. So I already use the speed lead. I don't know how great the attack lead will be for Stella, but if we want to use her in dungeon teams, could be interesting. You'll have the attack power option, and then we have like some skill error fixes. The only real significant one there is for the Choco Knight, the water one. They fixed an issue of the passive effect being activated on bombs or continuous damage. Does that mean bombs can still kill the Choco Knight? I guess that was a bug, and now bombs and dots can bypass his passive, which is going to make him worse. That is going to make him worse, so that kind of sucks. But that is going to be the end of the video. Let me know what you guys think about all these monster skill balancing changes down below. Are we excited about this balance patch? Quite frankly, the most exciting thing I've seen is the samurais getting adjusted for their Sword of the Supreme Skywolf. Now, the Water Samurai was my first ever 6-star, so I am going to be real excited to be able to play around with him again and see if he's actually usable now. How are you going to be using these units? What units are you excited about? Let me know in the comments down below, and we can expect some videos on these upcoming changes. Thanks for stopping by, and I will see you all in the next video. All right, bye-bye, everybody.